When we think about the power of questions, one of the things that we should spend just a little bit of time digging into is the essence and form. Now, that sounds pretty cool, but what does essence and form mean? Well, essence is what somebody wants, and form is the way that they want it. And here's why I bring it up. It's entirely possible to give someone exactly what they want in a way that they don't want it. Let me share with you a really quick example. Years ago, I had a chance to work with a custom cabinet maker, designing cabinets for your kitchen. The reason we started working together was because he was really frustrated and frankly, he was going broke doing proposals for high-end custom home builders. Here's what was happening. When a high-end builder would create these multi-million-dollar homes, they usually had 5 or 6 different options that people could come in and pick from. You've all seen subdivisions. Included as one of the options, people could design which kitchen structure they would like. Now, when I say that our hero made custom cabinets, frankly, I was stunned. I had no idea that cabinets could cost this much. We're talking $70,000, $80,000 for cabinets in your kitchen. Maybe I'm just not wealthy enough to even imagine that, but there we are. Here's what happened. The builder would say, we would like to draw up some plans for the custom cabinets inside these different models of homes that we're going to be selling. Now, this was a really big opportunity for him. Usually these builders would build anywhere from 25 to 35 homes, and if you figured $70,000 per job, this is a big opportunity. You with me? Okay. He got busy putting together different plans, and he would write out different CAD drawings and blueprints. He would talk about everything that was involved in building the cabinets, what kind of wood he was going to use, where he'd get the wood from, everything that went into the design. And he'd submit those proposals that ended up costing his company in time, manpower, and money several thousands of dollars. Okay, so on the surface, that made complete sense. Spend a couple of thousands of dollars to build the presentation and submit the proposal that gave him the opportunity to make hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of dollars. Make sense, right? Here's what was happening. He was giving the builders way too much information, way too early. What did they want? Well, they wanted some pictures of what the kitchens would look like. They hadn't decided which cabinet maker to go with yet. What they were asking for were samples of his work, and what he was providing was way too much information. They weren't ready to look at blueprints yet, and frankly, they didn't even care where he was going to be getting the wood from. What they wanted was something that they could compare other cabinet makers to decide aesthetically. For right now, it was just aesthetically what it looks like so that they can make the selection on who they wanted to work with. See, it's entirely possible to give someone exactly what they want, information, in a way that they don't want it. Too much information. Now, as salespeople, you and I, we talk about what it is that we offer. There are 4 questions that need answers really, really fast. And with these 4 questions, we have to get uncovered before we invest a lot of our time and our effort and our energy, because what could happen? Well, let me ask you this. Have you ever spent time and effort and energy working with somebody only to discover at the last minute that what it is that you were bringing to the table, what you offer, isn't what they want, or what they were seeing, they were unrealistic about what you were going to be able to do for them? Yeah, we all have. We live, we learn, we make mistakes, but those things don't have to continue. Let's talk about the 4 questions that we want to get answered really, really quickly. Here's the first one. What's the problem? What is it that they want? Now, you might be scratching your head saying, Sean, wait a minute. I sell something very specific. I know what it is that they want. Well, let me push back a little bit. They may want what we offer, but they might not want the way we offer it. Here's another example. They may think that what we offer is what they want, and they may hope that we can solve their problem, but it could turn out that the way that we do it isn't the way that they want it done. Does that make sense? We want to discover really, really quickly what the problem is, or at least what they perceive the problem to be. Have you ever spent 10 minutes giving someone the wrong answer to a question that they didn't even ask? Yeah, we all have. The first thing is we want to get in their words, not ours, in their words, what it is that they want. Here's the second one. we want to find out, why does this problem exist? Where did it come from? Is this something that they just started dealing with, or is this an ongoing problem? Is it something that comes up again and again and again? Now, we think about this idea, why does this problem exist? When we start to ask them to give us an example, a little bit more specific, really, how did we get here? What we're going to start to uncover is a lot about their process, their world, and how they see things. A couple of months ago, I was working with a copywriting company, and this company that produces advertising for other companies, they just brought in a new potential client. This was a big piece of business. This was a large national account that they were really excited to get started working with. One of the things that we had just started working on is this concept right here, getting those 4 questions answered as quickly as possible. They asked this nationwide account, how come you guys are looking for a new advertising company? Why do you need someone else to write different copy for what it is that you guys provide? Here's what they found out, that while this is a great opportunity on the surface, this particular company was burning through advertising firms at the rate of about every 6 to 9 months. It was kind of an industry secret that no one really talked about. Everybody was embarrassed to lose such a big client, and they thought it was them. But just by asking a couple of questions, they found out that they were never happy with anything that anybody had ever written. As they dug deeper, they found out that this national account, this piece of business that they really thought that they wanted, was very slow on paying bills, if ever. The justification was again, that this national account came up with was that they didn't do what they said they could do. They were never happy with anything that anybody had written. And they were trying to sell a subpar product at a premium price. Now, when we start to ask questions, how did this problem exist? Is this something brand new? Can you give me an example? How did we get here? We're also going to start gathering information about what not to recommend. Have you ever made a suggestion that somebody said, yeah, we tried that and it didn't work? As soon as that happens, we can get lumped into all the other people out there offering bad advice that they've wasted their money on. So just by asking a couple of questions, we can avoid a lot of those pitfalls that other people, amateurs, fall into. Now, the first question is, what is the problem? What is it that you want to be different? The second question is, how did this problem exist? Where did it come from? Here's number 3. Is this important enough to do something about? Now, you can come up with different versions of how to ask these questions, but even if they have a really big problem and the problem exists because someone else did something wrong, if we don't find out, is this important enough to do something about, we can end up wasting a lot of time with people that are never going to make a decision because they don't have a reason to. When we think about this idea, is it important enough to do something about, there's a lot of things that a lot of us would like to be different, but we never do anything about. It's very easy to assume that they're talking to us about it because they want to do something different, when in fact they can be talking about it simply because they want to complain about it. Even worse, we can go into a company, we can talk to an individual, assuming that they want to do something about this, when in the list of priorities it's number 12, and we're acting as though it's number 1 or 2. I can't tell you how many times I've had a chance to speak with someone in sales that just can't figure out why this great opportunity, why this good fit prospect isn't moving forward. And they think that they're doing something wrong. Why won't this person call me back? Why aren't they getting back to me? Why haven't they responded to the bid or the proposal that I put together? When we step back and we look at that, we start to realize that, hey, this might be the most important thing on our plate, but it might be number 10 or 12 on theirs. We all have problems that we're not doing something about, but what we want to get to really, really quickly is this something important enough to do something about? What happens if you do nothing? The first is, what's the problem? The second is, how did we get here? Where did this problem come from? And number 3 is it important enough to do something about? Here's number 4. Do you want my help? You see, they may want something different. They might have to make a new decision than the one that they've been making, but they may not want you to help them fix it. If we don't get this information right up front, if we don't find out what the problem is, how did it come about, what happens if they don't do anything about it, and do they want your help? Can you see how we could end up spinning our wheels and working on problems that will never get solved? Trying to sell in a situation that the opportunity just isn't there, no matter how bad we wish it were different. If it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. And when we think about this last one, do you really want my help? It's quite possible that the reason that they're speaking to us is simply because they want to gather information. They want to know what you know. The reason that they want to know is so they can go and fix it themselves. Have you ever spoken with someone like that? Yeah, I think we all have. At the end of the day, the value of solutions that we provide are in direct proportion to the value of the problem that exists. If we're working on low-value problems, then the importance of the solution that we're working on or that we're bringing to the table just isn't all that great. As we start to uncover what it is that they have, what it is that they'd like to be different, as we start to help them recognize the gap between where they are and where they'd like to be, we can start to highlight all the reasons why they would want to do that. Now, when I say highlight, what I really mean is getting them to tell us why they should do something different, why this is so important. Let me ask you this. Imagine for a minute what would happen if before you went to work solving someone's problems, putting together a bid or a proposal, or doing a demonstration, what would happen if you were to ask those 4 questions in the very beginning? What's the problem? What is it that you're looking for? How does this problem even exist? Where did it come from? Is this something you've been dealing with for a long time? Is this even important enough for you to do something about? And do you want my help? Any disconnect in those 4 questions, odds are better than good that you're not talking to somebody who has a desire or ability or the authority to buy what it is that you sell.